So, as you saw in the title, this is going to be 4 steps to become a financial analyst, and this is going to be for beginners. So, if you are, essentially for someone who is looking to become a financial analyst, who might be in high school, or you're looking to go to college for that, or you are in college and you are majoring in finance, business, anything like that, and you kind of like want to be a financial analyst. So, this is going to be for you, for someone who has no idea what steps to take to become a financial analyst. So this is gonna be for those people. So if so let me get my notes here actually before I lose my chain of thought. All right. So one of the so we're gonna start this from scratch, which is essentially going to college. Not, that's where I'm gonna start. So the first thing you have to do is get a college degree. That is the first thing you have to get because you don't need to have a college degree, but as a financial analyst, you need a degree to be competitive, right? If you've ever met a financial analyst, you know that they probably have a college degree 9 times out of 10, right? They have a bachelor's degree. Some of them do not have a college degree; they just have certifications. But when it comes to promotions, to getting promoted and getting raises and things like that, especially if it's a promotion, it's gonna they're gonna get someone who has a college degree, a bachelor's degree. So the first step is getting a bachelor's degree. So it does not need to be a finance degree, not at all. It does not need to be that. But my recommendation would be anything in business. It could be economics, it could be statistics, it could be finance, it could be anything under the umbrella of business. That's gonna help you. That's gonna be beneficial to you because you get to learn. If you're majoring in business in a class that's under the business umbrella, you get to take all the business classes, which are going to help you, right? That includes finance as well. There are some people that might be majoring in engineering, right, or physics or something like that, or maybe chemistry, but you think you might want to be a financial analyst, but you don't really know. Uh, if you are one of those people, I recommend taking some business classes, right? If you go to a public university, you're gonna have the option to pick, they call them electives, right? Classes that they have nothing to do with your major, but you need to take at least maybe 3 or 4 or something like that. Um, so um, so I would definitely take those electives if your degree is not business related. When it comes to actually applying for to be a financial analyst, you don't even need to be to have a degree that has anything to do with business or finance, right? But taking this class is going to help you. So that's why you see, most business majors get the job, or they find it a lot easier. They don't have a lot of they don't have to do a lot of on the job training because they kind of like understand the concept behind what they're doing, compared to someone who just came from physics and they decided that they want to do finance or be a financial analyst, and they're not able to excuse me, and they're not able to kind of like comprehend, and it takes them a little longer to train or to understand what's happening. So first step is going to be getting a bachelor's degree in anything under business. It does not need to be finance. It could be accounting, it could be economics, it could be uh, anything under business. That's going to help you. And if you're already done with school, or if it's too late for you to switch, just take a business class electives, a finance, introduction to corporate finance. Take an accounting class. Accounting will help you. Take introduction to accounting as an elective class. That will definitely help you. So that was the first step, which is getting a college degree, a bachelor's degree to be specific. Now the second step is gonna be, let's say, you just got to college, you pick your, and I see the questions in the chat. I'm gonna answer those at the end of the 4 steps when we end the video. But so the second one is gonna be, so let's say that you got to college, you're majoring in finance, for example. Now, what's the next step? The next step is going to be getting internships, right? I talk a lot about getting internships in college, and these are going to help you a lot. Not, one of the most common thing that internships help you with is going to be obviously getting the work experience, and also it's something that you can add on your resume as work experience, or, to show that you've actually done the work, and it makes you look outstanding. Those are the obvious things. But the things that a lot of people don't really think about when they, look at an internship is going to be the networking that you have, right? So sometimes once you graduate, you're going to be applying for jobs, right? And just because you know someone at a company that you interned at, they might push your resume up to the top, right? Or they might tell you, hey, we have a position open. I have, you know, sometimes when employees work for a company, right, they actually get bonuses or they get a fee for recommending good workers or good employees. So if I was working for a company and I recommended my friend, it's called a referral, they would pay me, let's say $500 for if you were a good employee, right? They didn't have to like teach you a lot and things like that. If you stayed at the company for about, they always have like these um, requirements, like you got to be with the company for 6 months and be in good standing, and then I get my bonus. So interning with, networking while interning, it's going to help you build a network. It's going to help you network with a lot of people. It's also going to help you with obviously work experience, which looks great on the resume, because I know if you've seen some of these jobs, they say you need 2 years of work experience, right? And you just graduated from college. You're like, I was in school. How am I going to get work experience? So most of this counts as internships. They count as work experience, right? Because you're actually doing the work. Even though it was an internship, you were doing the work. So that counts as that. So the second step, once again, is going to be getting an internship. So let's say that most internships that a lot of people look at, they have like GPA requirements. They want to go intern at Tesla. They want to go intern at Google. They want to go, those internships are going to be competitive, like very, very competitive. You have to have a good GPA, right? So let's say you have a 4.0. That's not enough because there's 100 other people from different schools from all over the country that have a 4.0. What's going to set you apart? Joining organizations, things like that. I talk about that in my video where I talked about, I talked about how to build your resume or something like that. It was a resume video. Go watch that if you need more info on that. But essentially, you have to stand out by joining organizations, being involved in things like that. Um, so if you don't have a good GPA, because not everyone has a good GPA to compete for those internships that look at a 4.0 GPA, and if you don't have that, you're out, right? So how do you compete with those people? You don't apply to the competitive internships. There is thousands of internships that are out there that don't require GPA. These are gonna be at your mid-size to small companies that are just looking for interns for the summer, right? And nobody applies to them because everyone is applying to the Amazons, to the Googles. And when those people don't get picked, they just don't do anything. They apply next summer and then they don't get picked. Maybe they get picked. So it's like those they don't apply anywhere, so they don't see the small companies and mid-sized companies as options for them. But if you do not have a good GPA to compete an internship at a big company, then apply to the mid-sized companies. That's gonna help you so much when it comes to work experience, because you're gonna be doing the work, and sometimes might even be able to do these as part-time jobs. I made a video on this, on how to get an internship without a good GPA. If you look that up on my channel, you'll find it. It'll go so much in detail. So the second step is completing an internship. At least one. Two is better. Three is better. I had 4 or 5 when I was in college, I believe. So, but you need at least one, because that's something you can add on your resume that's other than your education or organizations that you were involved in, right? Now we're gonna move on to the third step. All right. So the third step is essentially, so the first step was, you go to college, you major, you pick a business degree or anything else that's not a business degree, but take a few business classes as electives. The second step was, while you're in college, you do an internship. You have 4 years to do that, or 5 if it takes you 5 years. 4 years to find an internship, at least one internship. Now, step three is going to be to find a job, because I'm assuming you graduated, it's after 4 years, right? Find a job. So finding a job is probably the hardest part of like all of this, because for most people actually, because they are looking, just like the internships, they're looking to work at the big companies, like the Googles, the Amazons, the Teslas. That's where they're looking to work at. They're looking to get paid, $80,000 a year, $100,000 a year as a financial analyst. To be realistic, I think the average pay for financial analysts in the U.S., or the median, is like 50. not if not 46, it's kind of like I think it's 53 to 56. I don't know. I would have to look that up. Don't quote me on that. But it's under 60,000 the average, which is pretty high because a lot of jobs start a little lower, but it is still pretty high. But you cannot have your expectations, have expectations of making six figures just getting out of college with no real life experience. So that is not gonna work. So a lot of people apply to jobs that they think that they think are gonna pay them more, like jobs at Google, jobs at Tesla. Those are gonna be competitive as well, right? Do you know what happens when those people don't get picked or if they don't get a response? They stay at home, apply to other companies that are similar to that one, and they don't get picked again, and they keep doing the same thing the whole time they're staying at home. So my recommendation is gonna be apply to the small companies, the mid-sized companies. You're gonna have a better chance of getting into the big companies by working for the small companies. Think about this. You work for let's say you work for a mid-sized company as a financial analyst. You kind of like have your hat in everything. You're doing a bunch of things. You're doing a lot of things. Now you do that for 2 years or maybe a year. Now when you apply to the big company, you're gonna get hired over someone who just graduated from college with just internship experience. You actually have real life experience, and you're probably applying for a junior financial analyst or sometimes when you are graduating from college, you usually apply for the entry level financial analyst. But if you've done a lot of internships while you were in college, then you can be applied to be a junior financial analyst since you kind of like have experience. So I would say like if you've had like more than two internships, right? At least two, for at least two internships, you can apply to be a junior financial analyst. But if you've done like one or never done any internships, apply for entry level financial analyst. Obviously, the when it comes to how much you're gonna get paid, that's different, right? Because entry level and being a junior, that's gonna it's different. And also, you're gonna be working under someone. You're not just gonna throw you like you need to know how to do this, right? You're gonna be working under someone who's maybe a senior financial analyst, or maybe I know when I worked as a financial analyst, I was working under the VP of finance for the division that was in Texas for that company. So, you're always gonna work under someone when you're starting off as a financial analyst, someone you report to, someone who's gonna ask you, do these numbers make sense? Can you do this? Can you do that? There's so many things that you can do and so many routes that you can go. You don't always have to go to a financial services company. You can be a financial analyst at McDonald's, right? At corporate. You could be a financial analyst at Walmart. You could be a financial analyst at a cleaning company, things like that. You don't always have to go to like a financial services company. So there's so many opportunities that financial analysts have. You can work in any industry if you think about it. You can go to an engineering company and work as a financial analyst. You can go to anywhere and work as a financial analyst. So you can kind of like go into, I feel like a lot of people kind of like focus on the financial services industry where they only have, this tunnel vision of like these opportunities. I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. But then they don't see what's out here, which is the healthcare services industry, engineering, it's a bunch of industries you can go in as a financial analyst. You can even work for the government, for the local government as a financial analyst. So there's so many opportunities when it comes to being a financial analyst. I see my notes here if I have anything here. I think that's pretty much it. So when you apply for jobs, don't be too picky. Do not only apply to the big companies. Apply to the small companies as well. And if you do get a job at a small company, take that job and use that to leverage your position into getting into a big company, right? Because they're gonna look at your resume. Oh, he's worked at this company, was doing this, and then he graduated a year before that. You now have actual real life work experience that you can use to leverage yourself, your skills. You can even get paid more money than someone who just graduated from college, even though y'all might be applying to the same entry level financial analyst position. You're gonna get paid more because you have real life experience and they just have college and internship experience. Um, all right, so that was the third step. Now going on to the fourth step, which is what usually happens, right? So let's say you graduate, you work at a mid-sized company, you work for like a year, and then you apply to work at Google as a financial analyst, and you get the job. Now you start working at Google now, right? Now, what is the next step, right? Most people don't want to be, work as financial analysts for the rest of their lives, right? The rest of their careers. They don't want to be, you actually move from entry level to maybe junior to senior. Sometimes you want to do more. So what a lot of people do is they use that experience that they've had for, 3, 4 years, maybe 5 years sometimes, and they get a certification, right? So you kind of like specialize in whatever you want to do. So I'm gonna give you 3 different routes that a lot of people go. The first one is gonna be the CFA, right, which is the most prestigious certification you can get as a financial analyst, right? This is you find a bunch of like CFOs with the CFA certifications or financial managers with the CFA certifications and things like that. So you can do that, but this requires you to work for a bit before. So that was the whole point of getting a job before you even get into, getting certified or doing other things. So you can get the CFA, which is a certification, which is the most prestigious one that financial analysts get. You can also get the FINRA, which is if you want to get into investments and things like that, you need licensing. You need to get a bunch of licenses. I forget the names of the licenses that you need to get for investing, but and this requires a sponsorship from the company that you're working at, right? So you see why these steps are in this way, where you need to get a job first, right, as an entry level job, because to get these certifications, you actually need work experience to get those certifications. Like for the FINRA, you need a sponsorship from the company that you're working at or the firm that you're working at. They need to sponsor you. And then the last option is going to be going back to college to get your MBA, your master's degree, right? You get your master's degree. So with this, you can focus on whatever you want. If you really enjoy finance, you can get your MBA with a focus on finance, right? With an emphasis on finance or in accounting you can really get just an MBA and you focus on something that you actually enjoy doing. And you can only know this by actually working in finance or in the industry, and you find the things that you don't like, you find the things that you like, and when you go back to get your MBA after 4 or 5 years, you know exactly what you want to do. And sometimes you're even, let's say you're even like a junior financial analyst or a senior. Once you get your MBA, it opens up, the corporate ladder kind of like opens up, and you can see now I can be a manager, I can be a VP of this, right? Because you have your master's degree, even go up to be a CFO. Most CFOs have their MBA. Yeah, so those were the 4 steps that entry level beginner financial analysts need to know